Today is Thursday, April 17th, 2025. Bitcoin block height 892,837. Transaction fees 1 sat per VByte, low, medium, and high priority. About 4,200 unconfirmed transactions in this mempool. Bitcoin USD price sitting around 84,708 US pieces of paper. 24-hour high was 85,526. And the 24-hour low was 83,250. Bitcoin Spaces protocol 1.4548 total Bitcoin burned. 6,249 bids, 1,388 transfers and registers, and 1,498 rollouts. Spaces in auction, current, Eli, a blue fish emoji, alien, crown, DOC, film, future, GT. Claimable in about 22 hours and 50 minutes. Recent events. We have bids across the board. Pluto, File, Pick, Neptune, Saturn, Galaxy, Pix, photos, and files. So it looks like these bids are someone opening up some new words. Dang, so a lot of new words coming out here. Wolf, Jupiter. All right, the planets. Planetary. Rain. And then these bids here. So we got 1,000 Satoshis. These are the opening bids. Opening a space. That's the open command. A wallet's coming out soon. I don't know. It might come out today, but there's the command open. Space CLI. Open. So these are opens. Yeah. First bids. And then we have the other bids for 10,000 Satoshis. These are already existing spaces. Yeah. So they came out with the opening 1,000 bids. They rolled out. Somebody put a bid on it, 2,000 Satoshis. And then someone put another bid, 10,000 Satoshis. All right. Same day. Today. Ooh, same hour. Close, back-to-back bids. Seeing some action here, Spaces Protocol. So then after this, right, it'll end in 23 hours. So, and the thing about this is cool that I like about Spaces Protocol. Unlike other auctions where you could snipe, like last second sniping, that stinks. I don't like that. This one's cool. You can set it and forget it. You know, you can live your life, you know, because once somebody bids, it pushes it back 24 hours. So you could bid and go do whatever you got to do, knowing that even if someone else bids on top of you, they're not going to steal it or take it away. All they're going to do is push it out an additional 24 hours. So you got even more time to come back and check. So that's nice. You know, we're not sitting here trying to snipe, trying to time these things to grab them and pull them out from other people. These spaces have a lot of time in the auction process, and there's a ton of time for people to come in, look at the names, bid on them if they want. So that's definitely one of the good things about this protocol, this naming domain identity system. And hey, if you're doing your research on it, you know, the dude, Mike Buffer, they got a lot of experience with Bitcoin. I think the time since 2013 in Bitcoin. Over 10 years. Lightning nodes. I'm sure Bitcoin core nodes. Obviously, you need a core node to run this. Until the GUI wallet comes out. So that'll be something cool. The GUI wallet comes out. But also domain registrars. Run-in domain registrars. Park.io. All the people, I'm sure, in the domain space, they know Park.io. I looked at it. I was like, oh, it seems like, you know, it's pretty popular. It looks pretty damn popular. So, dude probably made some good cash off of that if he sold it. Because I see it shows up like in a lot of searches. I don't know what it is. It was described as drop catching. So I don't know what that is. If I had to take a guess, it would be when a domain expires and then this website sells it somehow. That's my best guess. I remember, I was into domains for a little bit actually. So it's funny, right? Bitcoin and domains. It's interesting. They're both good niches to be in. And here we go. Spaces Protocol combining the two niches. But there was another website. It probably still exists. Not sure. Expireddomains.net, I think it is. And I used to go there and do some stuff on that one. Look up. You could just like look up. You couldn't buy from there. You couldn't buy any names, but you could look the names up. And then you could go to any registrar like GoDaddy, Namecheap, whatever. There's a ton. And just register. All right, upcoming rollouts. Pluto, Photo, Wolf, Pick, Akron, Jupiter, Files, Neptune, File, Galaxy. And the rollouts of yesterday or earlier today, block 892-801, we saw every Firefly, GH, Spa, Polar, Squirt emoji, AF, Unknown emoji, question mark emoji, Option, and Lawyer. All right, so here's Lawyer. Somebody rolled Lawyer out. I remember I saw another word similar to that, Law. That went back in January 11th, and it went for 40,000 Satoshis. I wanted to get this one, but it was going up on a bidding war, and dudes were bidding. Looking at it now, though, 40,000 Satoshis, that seems cheap. I think that's what we're going to see, though, as this protocol scales up and people become more comfortable with it. You're going to see the prices are just going to go way up. Because 40,000 at the time, I was like, 40,000 Satoshis, you know? People weren't really bidding that high. If you look at the past auctions, look, 2,000 Satoshis. People were getting 2,000 Satoshis. Now, this was the very, very beginning, right? You got Mike Carson here. You got Buffer. They were like Satoshi, basically. Satoshi, when he got the million Bitcoin, you know, he's just mining it, keeping it up. That's kind of what was going on here, you know? The protocol launched, told everybody about it, but it required some effort to get in. You know, you had to have a Bitcoin node, and then you had to know how to do that. You had to have a Bitcoin node set up, know how to do it. Then you had to run spaces, know how to do that. And I learned all that just for this. So, you know, that's pretty cool, dude. I didn't know how to run Linux. I was like, you know what? I want to run Linux. So I was like, let me just do it, figure it out. It's easy though, right? Linux is easy, super easy, man. You just download it. There's different versions too. You just download it and install it just like you would install Windows, but then the UI is different inside of Linux. So that's a little different. It takes some time to get used to it. It's cool though, it's clean. And then Bitcoin Core running a node. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know how to do that either, but I was like, hey, I got to do that. And I wanted to do that anyway. So this was like just prompted me to do it. Turns out that's super easy too, man. You just download that and then it has its own UI too, like this GUI for the Bitcoin Core. You just launch it, you just run it, it syncs up, boom. Then there's like commands that you can run in there. And then connecting your wallets to it. Like you have Bitcoin wallets, you have to connect those to your node. That's easy if you have the wallets on the same computer that your node is. It's a little more challenging if you have wallets on other computers that you want to connect to your node. Still possible though, and easy too. I mean, that is actually easy once you learn that, but a little more difficult. Because you have to create a Bitcoin configuration file. So bitcoin.conf, I think it was. And then you have to put all these things. username and password, RFP, I think it is, remote protocol transfer, RPF, RPT, RPC, remote protocol communication. I don't know what it is, something like that. But that's easy, man. You just learn about it. You just have to be curious, you know? That's why I think it was a fitting name, Curious Bitcoin. You just have to be curious. If you're curious, you can learn about all this stuff. Just takes time. You start learning about it. Then once you do all that, you got your Bitcoin Core node, or you can run a different node. You know, they got Knots out there, but Knots is trying to, you know, fix the filters, right? What filters? What do you like? That's your choice, right? You trying to block op return? Are you trying to have a certain amount of space available? There's all types of stuff. And you could do that personally. That's the cool thing about a node. You could do the settings on your node. Like you can learn about it. There's all types of stuff you can put in your Bitcoin configuration file. Like I messed up actually. I put that my node wouldn't relay. It was like there's like minimum transaction relay. So I put mine at like 5 sats per VByte, I think. My node wouldn't trans relay, I guess, anything lower than 5 sats per VByte. And then I made a bid on a space for less than that. And it said that it went through. I think it said it went through. I don't know. I might have received some sort of response, but I thought it went through. It went through on spaces and everything. But then when I came to register it or claim it, it told me I couldn't. It was like, nah, dude, you don't have this space. You don't have it. And then I lost it. I lost the space. I still remember the space. Lost it. Saddened me. I had it too because it went up. So yeah, then you hook up Spaces protocol. That was a pain in the butt too because there's some prerequisites that I didn't know about. Rust, curl, and you know, maybe there's some other stuff. I forget what I had to install. And I don't even know what Rust and curl is, but I was just learning about it and then doing it. But now I think they just have a script. You can just copy and paste this curl thing. Do they have that? Where's the thing at? I mean, I know I got these spaces open. Quick start. Because I'm still learning about them. Still learning. Yeah. So they got this thing you can run right here. This might even been, this was different. I don't think when I was installing it, they had this part of it. But maybe they did. And this is where I was like, what's curl? Because my computer, Linux was telling me like, bro, you don't got that shit. It was telling me you can't do it. I looked it up. Then this SH might mean something. You can see how they're purple. And then I looked that up and was like, oh, if you want to install an application, I think that's what this is. It's installing this application from this website. But in order to do that, you need to have Rust installed. You need to have curl installed. There's prerequisites. So it is easy, but this right here, these instructions, they assume that you know stuff. You know? They assume that you know stuff. Which I didn't. I didn't know anything, but I figured it out. I thought of like analogy like a cardboard box, right? You could say a cardboard box. It's like, go pick up a cardboard box. You're giving somebody instructions. And they might say, what in the fuck is a cardboard box? But actually, everyone knows what a cardboard. You're assuming that they know what a cardboard box is. So you're assuming that they know what this is, or they know what this is. I'm like, they're like, install it. I don't think this text was here, actually. This is something new. I think it's just said install the latest version, and you had to like download these binaries. They were just files. It was just 2 little files, and it had like a cog symbol on it. And then it said verify install. I'm like, how the hell do you install it? I'm used to Windows. You double click, and it installs. It launches. No, don't do that in Linux, at least. From what I was doing, it don't do that. But I figured it all out. So yeah, you might tell somebody, you know, get a cardboard box. You're giving them instructions to pack something. They're like, what's a cardboard box? You say, well, you got to start with some paper. You know, you fold it into the shape of a box. You tape the bottom. You tape the edges. That's a cardboard box. But, you know, so it assumes people know stuff. But they're coming out with a GUI wallet to fix all that. And that's really what it needs for adoption, because most people aren't going to do what I did. Learn about it, run a node, Bitcoin node, install Spaces, and get all up into it. But that's where opportunity is, When Bitcoin first came out, I ignored it, unfortunately. But the people that were playing around with it, think about how it really paid off for them. They were tinkering around with nodes and the code and miners, right? They're mining the Bitcoin. Like, oh, this is cool. It ain't worth nothing at the time, and it took a lot of hoops probably to jump through. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe it was just download bitcoin.org, download and just run this hashing algorithm. I don't even know. That's something I got to get into too. Mining. They got this whole BitX thing going on where everybody's into the small community mining. I want to get into that too, man. But it's like $500, $200. I don't know. You got to pay. It's like, well, I could just put that in Bitcoin. I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's like a lottery ticket every 10 minutes. I probably wind up doing it. Just takes forever. All right. Spaces.market latest listings. SRTI. KO, XOXO, Yoshi, Kirby, Nike, Jet, and Pink. All right, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you all for watching.